I'm ready.
We're recording.
Okay, go ahead.
You want me to start?
Yep.
The following is the agenda for the regular council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, Mayor and Council of Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on March 23rd in the Municipal Building, consistent with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting will be open for public comments. Public comments may be made designated times during the meeting and may be submitted in writing to be read aloud during the meeting. Comments to be read at the meeting must be submitted at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by email or to the clerk's office at 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, and must be a length that can reasonably be read within the time limit for public comment.
Please stand for a flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to whoever requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Polidori.
Here.
Councilman Bay.
Here,
Councilman Cruz is excused.
Yes.
Councilman Deline.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney Mark Semeraro and our Borough Administrator Kevin Black.
Okay, we're going to jump out of order a little bit. I'd like to do our appointment of our new administrator. What ordinance is it actually? Is it, do we have to read the ordinance now, or should we just do it in regular?
Resolution.
Just resolution, so we can just do it then, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we had the opportunity to meet. We've taken, with the help of the council president and Councilman Eric Devine, we narrowed down our searches for a new administrator. Kevin will be leaving us in May. He's retiring. How many years you got in? 40. 40 years, about time he wants to retire. So we had a search, not an easy search to replace. Very difficult to find someone who fits with Pompton Lakes. We think after interviewing him, we had an interview with the whole council tonight, interviewing her, we think that Paula will fit well with us. She has a good background and a good mix of working with a big community like Parsippany and a small community like Little Falls, so she has the better of both pieces for us. Obviously, we are not Parsippany, but there are some things that you learn from a bigger community like that, and Little Falls is very similar in size to us.
Little Ferry.
Little Ferry is very similar in size to us, so we have that opportunity. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to appoint Paula. Do I have to even do it on motion?
Yeah, it's a resolution.
So I should read Liz, you want to read the resolution?
The title appointment of Paula
Yes.
Title only, yeah.
Tazzarelli to the position of Borough Administrator, start date May 9th, 2022.
Okay, can I have a motion?
motion.
Councilman Bennett, second.
Second.
Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
You want to do a
Against?
roll
Want to
call of it?
Roll call, please, yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz is excused. Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations, Paula, we're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say a couple words if you want to? Sure you can.
Sure. I don't know, it's not letting me in.
I just want to say thank you so much. I very much look forward to working with all of you and continuing the wonderful successes you've had. We're going to achieve a lot more together. And I very much enjoy being a part of the community, in particular for tonight. I'm glad to see our young people here so interested in government. I don't know if we have a future mayor, commissioner, governor, assembly, senator here, somebody. It's good you're here, and always pay attention to what goes on in these kind of rooms, because big decisions are made, and it's always good to be well informed. So I just want to thank you again. It was so nice to meet all of you prior to this and tonight, and I very much look forward to starting May 9th. I would love to wish Kevin all the best in his retirement. Having a 40-year career in this profession is truly remarkable. It's a tough profession, but it's one that brings a lot of good joy, pride, and you can sit back and look at your accomplishments and know you've done well for the people, and Kevin has done a great job here for the borough. So I look forward to crossing over with him and building upon all that he's achieved here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. If you want to take this and just sign it and give it to Liz, your pen, your pen? Down there? Okay.
You should probably have a swearing someone first meeting in May. Swear in.
What do we got going on, Liz, in May? Do we have anything, first week of May?
That'd probably be an option. What's the option?
You want,
If we could fit it in, yeah.
I didn't hear it. I'm sorry, my
Swearing in for
computer
her.
wasn't working. I
Oh,
was trying to get it
I'm
to
sorry.
go.
A swearing in for her on May, the first meeting in May, but I know we had something going on that May.
Well, we can,
That'd be great.
that's, I think.
Okay, as long as we can fit it, yeah, okay. Okay, so just put that down as the first meeting in May. Okay, can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
Council President
Second.
Caldori, Councilwoman
Second.
Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Anyone else? Please step up.
You're the best, Mr. Mayor.
I want to welcome and congratulate you to our town.
Thank you. Proud to be here.
Good. I'm Mr. Hinton, I'm with the Shade Tree Commission,
Oh,
and we could use a bucket truck. We've been trying to get that for
Can't leave it
years.
dry yet.
nothing like a good bucket.
Well, there's one over at Mr. Sujan's property over there, a nice white one, we could put a nice cardinal on the side of it. It's been sitting there for about a week now.
I have to look.
I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I've seen it. Mr. Mayor, Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. It came to my attention that Mr. Steiner grew up in Pompton Lakes, used to own Max's Back up on 23, and he made a donation to the town of plant material for Katie Cole Park. And he made that donation about a few months back.
Well, hold on, I don't know if he wanted to be recognized, it was by name, so.
It's too late now, isn't it?
It's a little late.
Okay. But he made a donation, and it would be appropriate if we sent a letter of thanks to him.
We did already.
You did?
No, they never gave me the information.
Boy,
I
we
did
weren't
not.
supposed to, I thought, right?
They were, but I reached out twice. I did
I
not
will
get the
give it to you.
information.
I will give it to you.
I thought Maria, weren't you?
Yeah, then I got sick with COVID, and that's where and I'll take the hit on that.
That's-
But I was gonna give it to her tonight.
That's totally fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
understandable.
happened. I was out for a month.
But just as long as that we,
He's going to get his,
Yes, it was very nice of that gentleman to make
Yes.
a donation. Yes.
and it's beautiful down
okay, thank you. Is there any
Sorry.
update from the DEP on the Willow Field project at all?
I'll let Kevin speak, but we're still waiting on final approvals, is that
I
correct?
have no report in my report now. My report. I'll respond.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you get your answer.
All right, thank you. Also, at the last meeting, I spoke about the idling of eggs, and on the island, if we could use the police boat. Did you talk to the chief?
He did, he said, you know, if we can work it out with the time and date, then we'll make it happen. But I understand by talking to Kevin that we have somebody doing that area.
Oh, by Kevin McGrath?
Yeah.
Okay, that somebody is going to do that area?
Yes, that's what he told me. The same group was going to do it again, or, what's his name? The zoning board gentleman, I forgot his name.
Come on, you're usually quick with names.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Oh.
But if not, yes, we'd get somebody.
Okay, good. Also, with the police department, I noticed on the news that they were talking, the Fairfield, Connecticut Police Department was donating old vests and stuff to Ukraine. Do we have any material like that?
You'd have to ask the police department. I'm not
Well,
sure.
just curious if you could ask them, if Bill might know, something that could be donated.
I think most of it's new.
Most of it's new, we don't have any old vests or anything like that.
I can ask Derek.
Okay, it's just something that came up and I thought maybe we could participate. thank Liz. Last council meeting, I asked for the salary and wage resolution, and she gave me a copy. And I noticed that through the years, I've been asking for possibly an increase in salary for the secretaries, for the committees and commissions, and it seems like that went through this year.
Yes,
So-
I think it was a council decision more than your decision, but yes.
No, it was not my decision at all. I was only asking in respect for them.
Yes,
I was told many times that it was a stipend salary,
it is stipend.
and it's not a stipend salary. It's right in here in the resolution
Well,
that they're not stipend salaries.
it's.
So,
it's
but
okay.
it's, anyway, whether it is or isn't, I'm glad to see that the council made a decision to give them increases. And,
Yes, and I agree, they
and
were
it's
underpaid.
long overdue.
Yeah, I agree.
So I appreciate that. At the last council meeting, also, I watched it again on TV. I love seeing you present yourself.
Thank you so much.
And, but you had mentioned that about property tax in Pumpton Lakes, and then you said that municipal property tax is 19% of the bill.
21, I think it is, 23.
Well, you said 19,
Okay,
and it's actually 24.14.
I stand corrected.
That's okay. I don't like to correct you,
Never.
because it's rare that I have to. But county tax is close to 19. It's 18.86, according to the tax.
Thank you.
And we heard that the Board of Education is actually lowering the taxes?
We don't know that yet. They haven't presented their budget, but there's good guidance that they have good numbers this year, so we'll see what comes out of it. But
Okay, that's good. And the county's taxes are flat?
again, when counties' taxes are flat, doesn't mean they're flat. Their flat is a zero with increases for healthcare and pension. So they call that a flat, but it's still an increase.
Okay. That's about all for now. I'll think of something. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up. Name and address, please.
Hey, Mayor.
Hey, how are you?
Assemblyman Brian Bergen from Denville. If you need 116 West Shore Road in Denville. So as you probably know, legislative redistricting just happened. And I am fortunate enough that I was redistricted into have you guys.
That's what we like to hear.
Which is pretty cool, which I'm excited about. So just by way of background, so I wanted to come here tonight to introduce myself to you. Also, technically speaking, I'm not really your legislative person until I get elected, but that's not the game I play. I'm legislated, I'm redistricted into this district. I'm here for you starting now. I'm here to serve you and the people that you represent every single day. And I got a card with me I'm going to give to you. Feel free to, it's got my cell on it, call me for anything, give it to your constituents. My job is to help you, and I plan on doing that job really, really well. So by way of background, I'm a West Point grad, a combat vet. I flew attack helicopters for the U.S. Army for quite some time. My wife says she married a cool Apache pilot, and now she's stuck with me. But I'm just an excited guy. I've been out in assembly for 2 years. I love it. It's total chaos down there, and they're all nuts. But it's pretty rewarding experience, and I'm having a good time. And I have a lot of energy, if you can't tell already. And I love to work. And most importantly, I love to represent folks. So I'm going to leave my cards with all of you, including you. Anything I can do to support any of you moving forward, I just wanted you to know that I'm here for you.
And if I'm correct, I think your mom lives in town, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. My mom lives on the Ridge Drive. She bought them when they were first made back, I think it was 2000.
So,
It's
Councilman
been a
Billy,
while. I'm there from the beginning.
Oh, you are? All right. All right. Well, I'm hesitant to tell you who my mom is then. That might be dangerous. She might drive you nuts. Yeah, but she lives up there. A bunch of the rest of my family lives in Riverdale. I was just at the Riverdale council meeting.
Oh, you don't have to go to
Myself, too.
Riverdale. Why don't you go to Riverdale?
It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I should have just come
Right,
straight here.
exactly. Yeah, you can tell
exactly. But yeah, my family's my mother's in town, and it's a great town, and I'm really pumped to have you.
Good.
To represent you. So I'm here
We're
for you.
excited to have you, and as we all know, that there's officially, it's still quite a ways away,
Yeah.
but we'll take any help we can get all the time. We have a lot of activities here in town that you'll be more than welcome to come.
Thank you.
We'll send you the invitations. I'll have the clerk put your name on all the invitations we send out.
I appreciate that.
Up to you if you can make it happen.
It's great. Now you got the best of all worlds. You can there's 4 assembly people, 2 senators. You just keep going until you get the answer you want.
And let me just say, all
pretty
the
great.
assembly and senators, they've already cycled through one, so the people that are up here long enough, we've had this first group, along with our congressman, who's also cycled through.
All right.
We've had Pascal once before, and I said, "You're so old, you've come back to us again."
There you go.
But, at the end of the day, we've got a good group of people now, and I think we'll have a good group of people moving forward.
Good. Awesome. You have any questions for me?
Any questions?
All right. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate that. May I leave my cards with you? Okay. You guys have a wonderful rest of your
Thank
night.
you.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Okay. Anyone else like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilman Devine, Council President Palladori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes, March 9th, 2022, closed session meeting minutes, March 9th, 2022.
So moved.
Councilman Devine,
Second.
Councilman Bay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Bills and claims, motion to approve the following bill list as stated below, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion.
Council President Palladori, Councilman Bay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Anyone need a consent agenda removed? Seeing no one, Liz, whenever you're ready.
Whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes does not desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be it resolved, the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 22-116 through 22-125.
Motion to approve for resolutions.
So moved.
Council President Palladori,
Second.
Councilman Deline, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, separate action.
No resolutions. We're going to go
I'm
into
sorry,
introduction of ordinances, first
Ordinances, yes.
reading. Be presented for second reading and final adoption on April 13th. Ordinance 22-10, ordinance repealing ordinance 16-08, an ordinance establishing the Technology and Innovation Committee.
Motion to approve ordinance 22-10 for introduction.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second?
Councilwoman Kent, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman DeLine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Just for educational sakes, we've come to the end of what the technical group has done for us. They've done a great job. I'd like you to thank all the volunteers for us. If we need to bring them back, they're always willing to come back and help us, but they helped us get these televisions up and all these other things. So at this moment, there wasn't a lot for them to do, so that's why we're repealing the ordinance as it reads right now. Okay, ordinance 22-11.
Bond ordinance appropriating $995,000 and authorizing the issuance of $890,000 bonds or notes of the borough for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the borough of Pompton Lakes in the county of Passaic.
Motion to approve ordinance 22-11.
So moved.
Councilman Begg,
Second.
Councilman DeLine, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz. Oh, he's not here. Okay, Councilman
Yeah.
DeLine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Kevin, you just want to give an update what that's...
Yeah, this is our normal bonding ordinance we do each year. It's the first time in a number of years it's actually under $1 million, and that was done purposely because we have, we're really racking up a lot of financial debt, and all for positive stuff, but there's still over $1 million last year, $1 million before that, and $1.5 million alone for the fire truck. So this year, for the most part, this is an ordinance that really, there's 2 major components to it. A new garbage truck for $265,000, another $200,000 into the pond hole, which is now the pond money pit. And then we have $50,000 for our river work, $50,000 for our stormwater improvement work. And that's the major part of the ordinance, for the most part.
Okay. Any questions? 2212.
Ordinance providing for various capital improvements or purposes to be undertaken in and by the Borough of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic and appropriating $90,000 therefore from monies in the capital improvement fund of the borough.
Can I have a motion? Council President Palladori?
Second?
Councilwoman Kent? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Palladori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
This is not a debt ordinance. This ordinance comes from the capital improvement fund. It's actually capital cash for the most part. That being said, this $90,000 will be spent for improvements to the first aid squad. It'll be spent for continued remediation of the A1 auto body down by the river. We have continued to do that. The good thing is now, Vite, myself, and our representative from our environmental firm, might be some money that's available through the brownfields, a special DEP fund that's been operational because of the American Flood Recovery Act, might be covering some of this, potentially redeveloping that site down the road. So we're in the process of maybe trying to help offset some of this cost down the road. So this was capital cash and no debt.
Okay, any questions? Okay, ordinance 2208,
For second reading.
second reading, sorry.
Ordinance revising ordinance 0008, an ordinance providing for a mutual easement by and between the group 525, between the group, the 525 group and the Borough of Pompton Lakes, clarifying certain aspects of the implementation of the mutual easement, specifically the parties mutually agree to clarify the mutual easement between the 525 group and the Borough of Pompton Lakes relative to the property commonly known as 525 Wanacue Avenue, bearing lot 10 and 11 of block 7400 on the borough's official tax map.
That's why I have you to read all that.
I know.
I'm going to let the attorney just make a comment on what that's about.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There was an easement that was previously recorded designating certain parameters within a joint parking lot for a parking space designation. Since the original agreement, there has been discussions to change the configuration in light of changes in development plans over the years. The parameters of the easement isn't changed, it's just the designation of parking spaces within the easement. Since the public buildings and land law require items of this nature to be done by way of ordinance, I thought that the revision should similarly be documented by ordinance, and that's what we drafted here.
For the council and public at home, this is the building next to the firehouse and the firehouse that we're talking about. Okay. Okay, motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 2208.
So moved.
Councilman Deline,
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address just this ordinance? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 22-08.
So moved.
Council President Palladori,
Second.
Councilman Deline, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 2208 for final adoption.
So moved.
Councilman Bay,
Second.
Council President Palladori, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 22-09, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Kevin, you want to, or Eric, or whoever wants to talk about it. Eric, you want to mention anything?
So what this ordinance does is, we are limited by law in how much we may raise the municipal budget, basically year after year, with the exception of if we never reach that limit, we can roll over sort of that unused amount into a subsequent year, not being able to roll over more than 2 years at any particular time. All this really does is, this isn't actually raising the budget any higher. What this does is it increases more or less our ceiling, and if in a subsequent year we have to raise it more than 2.5%. We're increasing the cap bank to 3.5%, We've been doing this, I think, since the law passed in 2010. I don't think we've ever utilized it. But again, this is just sort of a tool that we want to keep in our back pocket. So this requires us to pass this ordinance on an annual basis.
Okay, thank you. Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 22-08.
So moved.
Council President Polidori,
Second.
Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 22-08. Need a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Begg, Councilman Denon, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 2208 for final adoption.
So moved.
Councilman Devine?
Second.
Councilman Denon, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Yes.
Councilman Lennon,
Yes.
Councilman Bay,
Yes.
Councilman Deline,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under my report, a couple things. For start with, we have a new Vietnam Memorial service being held this, this Tuesday, the 29th at 11 o'clock at the memorial down on Lakeside. This is a new event that was brought to my attention by some Vietnam vets, and they'd like to put it on. They understand this is a tough time during the day. A lot of people are working, but if anybody would like to join us, we'll be there at 11 o'clock. He attended a planning board meeting, a zoning board meeting. Since Councilman Cruz is not here, Karen asked me to mention some things about rec, and I'm sure some other council people up here will talk about it. But right now, they're still taking applications for summer camp. If you're interested in having a child join summer camp, you can contact Karen Murphy, or you can go on the website. There's different prices from between 1 and 3 children. There is a discount for the more children you have. It's a half-day program from 9 to 12. I think you have to be in kindergarten at least to take part in the camp. I can tell you they have a lot of nice programs there. They run it down at Hirschfield Park. There are no, if it rains, unfortunately, we do have no inside area, so that it is canceled on the days that it rains. But, you know, I've been down involved with the camp for a long time, and the kids seem to really enjoy it. We're also looking still for a assistant camp director. So that application is out there, looking really for someone in the teaching field, if someone's interested in that. And we are looking for camp counselors. If you are over the age of 16 and have working papers, please apply again through the website or speak with Karen Murphy. We're going through the interview process right now. The Teen Center had their first dance this past Monday, and I got to thank the VFW for offering their services to let us use the building. I understand it was a big success. A lot of kids had a lot of fun. It seemed like they planned it well, and I hopefully this is the start of new things. You know, at the end of the day, we did close down our teen center last month. We're still in the process of trying to get a teen center back, and, you know, maybe we'll have some good news on that in the next couple weeks. But right now, we've been lucky enough to have some of our volunteer groups in town, the VFW, the Elks, have offered us some space for our kids to take part in. Let's remember, these kids haven't been out really in 2 years, so after talking with the rec committee, they weren't certain if anybody would even show up to the dance, because these kids just aren't used to it. And I know Council President was there and Councilwoman Kent was there. They had the good numbers, right? There was 80, is that what you said? 80 people. So for the first dance, that's impressive. So that's a good thing. I'm glad to see the kids are back out enjoying themselves and having fun. We had a meeting with the parking consultant about our pond hole parking. You guys will be seeing something coming through shortly about how we're going to arrange the pond hole and how it affects everybody, including business owners, students, residential parking. You know, this is the new concept that we're talking about, the shared parking services that we're talking about down at these buildings. This is starting to implement now. Hopefully, and Kevin, I think it's in your report, but we're going to talk about when the pond hole should be stepping forward and getting that finished. Once we finish the pond hole, which should be in the next month or two, then this whole parking meter structure will take place. And the police have a lot to do with that. There's a lot of signage that has to go up, a lot of changing of the meters. You know, it's going to be an education process. I'm going to say that. And we've all determined that, the police did at least, the first month, it'll be just a warning to any resident that's doing something wrong in the pond hole, to make them understand these are the new restrictions down here. But after that, there will be tickets put in place. So, you know, if anybody asks you about it, there'll be more mission to follow, but just let them be aware the first month at least, they'll be warned about how, there'll be a lot of signage. We're gonna have our large street signs there telling you exactly what's gonna happen. They're still finalizing, I think I saw an email today.
Well, there's no draft of the ordinance. As the mayor mentioned, the borough in the bid, many years ago now, we've been doing this for such a long time, hired Jerry Gioso from Long Island, who is a parking expert, and that's what he does. He works for Morristown Parking Authority, and he's the gentleman who devised the shared parking concept, because there's only 200 and some spaces in the pond hole. You have to be able to accommodate those people who work and come and go during business hours, those people who stay overnight, things of that nature. So, in theory, it'll be, again, a shared concept across the board. The rates in the pond hole are going to change. Like right now, there's no fee. It's going to be 50 cents an hour in the pond hole, which means 50 cents an hour will be changed from 25 cents on Wanacue Ave. You can't people parking on Wanacue Ave cheaper than the people who are paying to park in the pond hole. We're going to look to try to give businesses a couple of passes for the businesses, for themselves and employees. Some employees may have to pay. It won't be totally free, but at least the businesses will have a few passes going forward. So it's going to be a dramatic change in only parking, and where people park, how they park, and who's allowed to park. So it's going to be different. And the ordinance lays out all that from soup to nuts. We're adding 7 handicap spots in the lot. Right now, there's only 2. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming forward. And that ordinance will be presented to the council. Once the final the layout that was there now was what was proposed in the actual bids to the contract. Based upon how we saw it, the police had some concerns, fire had some concerns, and just flow was an issue. So the layout is going to change. So eventually, we'll have a finalized map before the striping. That would be Malibu. We used to discuss the finalization of the ordinance. The game plan is to have the ordinance in place sometime in June or July. And then have it rolled out so by September, when the school starts, the fee for students have a trimester parking bill, and it'll be trimester billing. A lot of things change, so that'll be for September. And we'll see how it all plays out. That's if everything goes according to oil, but that's the game plan.
And we're still anticipating the pond hole to come back and get the rest of that work done in the next month, right?
Well, I'll report my report.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I mean, for us, this community is an old community. That's a big change, that pond hole changing, the old timers can't believe that it will say that that's changing. So, let's give everybody a break with education and make them understand. We're trying to work with them, trying to make them understand that we're still available parking for anyone who's concerned about it, but there's different methods to go about doing that. Speaking about redevelopment, as everyone probably has seen, the redevelopment in the middle of downtown is finished with the demolishing part of it. The next phase is they did hand in all their plans to start the process of building. They're having a special redevelopment meeting this Monday, this Monday, to finalize the plan that they're presenting. They had some minor changes on it. Once that's presented and once it gets approved, which has to go through our engineers and our building department and everything, they can actually start working on the project. So I'm thinking probably in the next month or 2, they'll get all their final approvals, and then they'll start working on that. And once they start working on it, I know I get asked a lot by a lot of people, how long is it going to take? They're estimating if everything goes good and everything goes straight, and they have no material concerns, it'll be about a year to a year and a half to finish the project from start to finish. So you're talking about a year and a half from now, we could have the buildings up and people could be moving in there, which is, again, huge changes for Pompton Lakes. These are all big changes, good changes. I always remind everyone that the piece of the taxes that we're collecting on that building right now is $29,000. Don't hold me to that number, please. I could be off by that a little bit. At the end of the day, the first year of the pilot is $350,000. The last year of the pilot, the 30th year, is $1 million. That's a big number for Pompton Lakes, when we're collecting $29,000 now. Think what we can do with that money. We can help offset our taxes a little bit, which is this council has said right from the very beginning, we're not going to lower your taxes, but it'll help us offset some of the costs that we're going to spend on things that we have to purchase. That fire truck at $1.5 million, if we had some money banked from these pilots, maybe some of that money would have went towards this. So these are all good things, and all the years of working on this, and this is 10 years of work here. This is a long time putting this together. It's finally paying off. And unfortunately, I have to bring up my friend Mike Fabrizio, who was a big supporter of this and put this together. He would have been doing backflips to see this happening at this point. It's just so sad that he can't see it happen. And that is my report. Council President Polidori.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to thank Paula for coming out tonight. I had the opportunity to sit in on the second round of interviews. I was very impressed, so I appreciate you extending the opportunity to the rest of the council members to get to ask some questions and familiarize themselves with you before we begin working together, which I am looking forward to. So thank you. And I have thanked you last time. I'll thank you again today. I have other opportunities to thank you. So thank you for your service to the community. And thank you for your help the last couple months with me, specifically I saw the Bark Park on the resolution. So that's great. I know that was an opportunity that you identified and allowed us to work with. And it's on the agenda today, which also happens to be National Puppy Day. So it was perfectly timed. I thank you. My dog thanks you. And also, I know you mentioned through email that you will be speaking about Pacifico Gallo in your report. So I do want to make mention of the fact that the Open Space Committee went back and forth and really worked hard on finalizing what the concept of that would look like. As you remember, we started earlier in the pandemic with redoing Lakeside Park and really making that the flagship park for what would now be the model going forward as far as inclusive play spaces are concerned. I think every piece of equipment in that playground has some component of inclusive play, whether it's sensory or retreat space or ADA accessibility. So we've been able to move that forward. I know you worked on Stiles Park and we included some inclusive play space there as well. So just to give you an idea of what this looks like and what we were able to do with Pacifico Gallo, and hopefully when you hear about that tonight, you'll be as pleased as council members as we were as open space. But the pieces are designed to appeal to multiple levels of inclusivity.
Copies of my report, so I do have my report, copies of that in my report.
In the report,
Yeah,
does it talk about
you'll see the maps and the layout.
the specific components of what the inclusive play space are as far as the sensory harness pieces, transfer ramps, and I just think it's important. The pieces are designed now so that you wouldn't even know that that's a component, so it really does make it a special place for everyone to be able to have a good time of all ability. So thank you for working with us on that. As Mayor Sarah mentioned, the kids are back out and in-person events. We, as the PTA for Lakeside, did host our first in-person dance earlier this month, and we had over 200 students come out, which I think is probably more students than they've had at a dance in years. Even before the pandemic, the kids just really wanted to get back out again. We've been working really close with the principal on bringing back as many of the activities as we can that they missed. So, you know, we are a town rich in tradition. SOS night is something that's very special to the 7th graders. Last year, 7th grade missed it, so the school worked hard to bring it back for them this year as well. And I was able to participate with my son, as I did with my daughter, as I did with my father when I was in Lakeside. So it's, you know, working with individuals that recognize how important it is to keep those traditions going and to be able to bring them back was really special. And then my son and I did stop in at the rec event, which I know Councilwoman Kent will speak about, but that was just outstanding. I mean, you guys had so much going on and the kids had a blast. So thank you for your hard work on that. It was really nice to see the seniors out here tonight for CTO Day. I look forward to working with my counterpart. And I will, if we run late, be stepping out a little bit early tonight because my son's basketball team made it to the championship game, which will be starting at 8:30. And that is my report.
You can leave whenever you need to leave. We'll see you. Because I know that's where Bobby is.
Yes.
I forgot to mention, thanks for reminding me, CTO Day, which is when the kids take over and run the council for us, they'll come up with an agenda. These are all high school students. They'll come up with their own agenda, their own resolutions, and they'll run a meeting at the next time of our meeting. It's very interesting to see from a kid's perspective what they're looking for in the town and what's important to them. You know, some of the things that we've done in the past, we've actually incorporated into our plans and said, those are great ideas, let's do that. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with moving forward. Councilman Bay.
Thank you. The Pompton Lakes MUA received a letter from Chemmore's company regarding groundwater classification and pertaining to groundwater use. John Wegley responded with a letter informing Kenmore's that the Pompton Lakes MUA has no plans at this time to use groundwater that was listed on their map. The Pompton Lakes MUA received a letter from the state of New Jersey, Department of Environmental Protection, Clint J. Ullman, Manager, Bureau of Dam Safety, regarding the review of the submitted documents and associated information on the Twin Lakes Dam rehabilitation. The Bureau approved the dam rehabilitation under Dam Safety Permit number 1593. On February 17th, 2022, the MUA received a report of a water main break on River Edge Drive. A repair crew was dispatched and a 6-inch water main was repaired. The Pompton Lakes MUA lab manager, Terry Ann Williams, completed the California State University program for operation and maintenance of wastewater collection systems in February 2022. The Business Redevelopment Commission approved 12 Tesla charging stations in the shopping center, and that was the only one thing on the agenda. And that's my report.
Good, and so I just should verify, again, I got people asking me, the 4 charging stations you see there are not the Tesla charging stations. There will be another 12 put in next to the 4 that are there. The 4 that are there are for any use electric car right now.
It's multiple.
Multiple, yes. The Teslas will only be used for Teslas. So Tesla has determined that we would be a hub for driving cross country or down to like Florida because of our convenience to the highway. So that's why they're putting in 12. Because I did question 12, it seemed like a lot, but they think they're going to use them. So that you'll be seeing those going in right next to the other 4. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Councilman Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, Paula, thank you very much for coming out today. Our interview with you was excellent. It really left no doubt. And I think there was a consensus among us and among the council that you were really the right person for the job. So I really look forward to working with you and learning from you, considering that my job has quite a lot to do with your responsibilities. Again, it's been a couple of years off, but it's great to see CTO Day. I think we were in the process of having CTO Day when everything shut down back in 2020, and then it just started to drop. So it's a good thing, again, another sign of things returning to normal. I had a good discussion with my counterparts. I'm really interested to see what the group puts together for us. It's always a great exercise. Last Monday, Shade Tree Commission held their meeting. I wasn't able to attend because I was sick myself. So thank you, Randy, and the rest of Shade Tree for following up with a report. They are making their spring removal list, pruning and planting list for the year. So if anyone has any town trees for removal or pruning, or if they would like a new tree planted on the town right-of-way in front of their home, please contact the Shade Tree Commission through appropriate channels. That can be done through their Facebook or at Shade Tree Commission at Pompton. Actually, I think it's just Shade Tree at Pompton Lakes, NJ.gov. They completed their yearly accomplishment report for 2021, and it was sent to the state. Good news, the borough has been approved for Tree Seed USA for the 14th year in a row, so it's quite the accomplishment by the Shade Tree Commission. And Arbor Day event is in the planning stage, and it is scheduled for the April 27th council meeting, and more information will follow.
Just before you jump to your next thing, I know we had some talk. Were you copied on those trees that were being donated from
Columbia Bank?
From Columbia Bank, yes.
So I guess we're going to incorporate that somehow with the Shade Tree Commission about an idea of where they'll go.
Yeah, I think some of the discussion is that there's a number of, I think some of the discussion will revolve around the idea that there's some trees near the south end trails and things like that could use some replacement. So I think that's kind of where
we're going to let the Shade Tree decide. I'm just asking.
Yeah, Shade Tree definitely have input. I know that they were looped in the conversation. So I imagine, as it progresses, Columbia, I think, has certain trees and things like that, so we'll let Shade Tree know, make sure that they're going.
And did we have a number? Did they ever give us?
No, I dealt with Gene, the branch manager, and said, deal with me, let's get the details first, so we can
Right, I
kind of
wanna
check
hear
out
the
where we go. I have no idea what type of trees are giving
How
us.
big they are?
It could be saplings, it could be some mature trees, then we can kind of decide what happens when it's the type of tree we get.
Okay, and I guess Shade Tree should be made aware of that
Well,
list of
yeah,
of
and
whatever it is.
hopefully, depending on size, DPW should be able to put those in.
Okay, I can't imagine they're big. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. This past Monday, the Library Board of Trustees met. Just to let everybody know that the work on the library expansion has resumed now with the better weather. Spring 22 Storytime registration began on Monday, March 14th. The spring session will run from March 28th through May 20th. There will be no story time the week of April 11th. Available days for Tot Time, which are children's ages 0 to 3, will be on Tuesdays from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. or Wednesdays from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Preschool story time for children's ages 3 to 6 is Wednesdays from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Thursdays from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the Board of Trustees had a sort of a discussion on the ideas of fine-free library. If people are aware of that, there's a number of libraries that have sort of moved to this method of not actually fining people for being late with their book returns. Basically, the thought process is it actually provides a disincentive of using the library because people are worried about, well, what if I can't get to the library and things like that. Doesn't sound like the Board of Trustees is willing to go there, but they are looking into it a little bit more. But that was a discussion among the board. This weekend, the Trails Maintenance Committee had their first cleanup of 2022. They cleaned garbage off the trails and helped set up the Voices of the Trails QR codes, which was the recent Girl Scout Silver project. The next cleanup will be Saturday, May 7th at 10 a.m. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Kent.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Our DPW just wants to point out a couple things. Their spring cleanup collection for the north side of town will start on April 7th, and for the south end, it will start on April 8th. And the DP will be working on filling in the potholes very soon, and they're going to be making repairs to the playground equipment that's existing, and they just asked that there is caution tape around some of the equipment, so please don't let the kids go on that area if you see the tape, because they're going to repair it.
Can I just jump in real quick, because that's DPW? I am getting a lot of calls from residents concerned about people putting their garbage out too early in the day. You know, you're supposed to put it out 6 o'clock the night before. You can't put it out on a Sunday for a Tuesday pickup. And residents are calling, you know, it's starting to become an issue, and we're gonna have to start sending out people to write tickets, unfortunately. You can't just leave your garbage cans out there, you know, all the time. And unfortunately, people are doing that now. So I know I spoke with Dan, and it's becoming an issue, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, we have to follow the ordinance. That's why we have an ordinance. So. I attended the OEM, Office of Emergency Management meeting with the mayor, and that was very, very informative. And we had members of the flood board also attend. If you did not attend, you can watch and listen to what Al Evangelista has to say. And you know what I find? I find that, you know, you forget little things that could be very, very important in a case of an emergency, in case of a flood or a tornado. And so I would just recommend that everybody just go online and take a look and just review what he said. It's a good refresher course. And he did a wonderful job. And Mayor, you did a good job filling in for some of the items that were mentioned. So thank you. Council President Polidori, I'm going to thank you for all your work and our Administrator Boyle for working with the open space and getting that new playground equipment. And I'm going to thank you for indulging me and buying the frog, because I just can't wait to take my picture with that little guy. And we can name him, and we can have a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm mentioning the frog because he's very cool. I'll do it, no problem. But anyway, he's very cute, and the kids and the parents are going to be very excited on that on a Pacifico Gallo. They're going to be very happy to see that new equipment. It's very, very nice, and I'm grateful that we can have that. I attended the Rec Commission's first VFW dance activity night. It was amazing. I chaperoned, and I have to tell you, Pompton Lakes, I am so proud of our children. That, like, the middle school kids were so well behaved for not being out for so many months. And they really had a wonderful time. There were over 80 attendees. The rec commissioners, they're rock stars to me. They kept everybody in control. One of the rec commissioners had to take their phones if they wanted to go to the ladies' room or the men's room because we didn't have any problems with TikTok. So we were very strict with certain rules. They were not allowed to go outside unless we call him the bouncer Mike, and he made sure that the kids, if they had to call their parents, that they stayed near the door, so there was no issues with outside. And the big thing that I was always worried about was, people traveling in and on the VFW to pick up their children. And it was absolutely wonderful. It was very organized. Parents were very careful with driving in and out, backing up, and there were absolutely no incidents that night. And it was a wonderful night. The kids had a ball. And special shout out to Joe Vagnotti. He came in at the very last minute for a DJ, and he did a great job. And the kids had a lot of fun doing line dances, which I didn't even know they could do, but they were wonderful. So we all had fun. We all had a really good time. And guess we don't need the teen center right now because there's other things going. So we'll see. Yeah, but they had a good time. The river cleanup is on for May 1st. We do have a flyer, and in our flyer, we are becoming very technology savvy. There's a little square thingy.
QR code.
That's it. And you can scan that now if you want to attend, and so you can do that, or you can just show up either way. But we are getting a little bit more savvy there with coming in. Again, anyone under 18 has to be accompanied by an adult. Any questions? All that information is available.
Can I ask, I got contacted by football today. They want to join the event.
Yes.
But they are not going to bring parents with them. So then how does that work? So
Well,
they're bringing a lot of the players.
The players and the coaches, right?
So
the players and the coach. Well, no, they just need
one adult
Oh, yeah.
responsible for all.
Yeah, if you have an organization like Boy Scouts, the Scout Masters or the Scout leaders,
Okay.
they come, they don't need the parents.
Okay.
It's just that you have to be responsible for the children you bring.
Okay.
That's fun. So, and we're looking forward to that. The planting for the habitat restoration off of Haraldson Place will be postponed. We're going to try to just maybe handle the weed removal initially, but the planting will be postponed due to a glitch in getting the certification approval from NJDEP. They're a lot slower than I guess they should be. But
Didn't you used to work for them?
yeah. See, when I left, see what happened? It's all gone. It's gone down. Let me see. I also attended a Zoom meeting with the bond and the finance committee talking about bonding and purchases. I'm personally not used to those kind of numbers. However, it's an essential requirement so that the borough can keep up with providing essential services at a minimal amount of increase. So we're hoping that works out well. Today, I attended a Zoom meeting again on the hazardous algae bloom Zoom meeting that was provided free of charge by the Department of Environmental Protection, and we'll talk to Kevin at some point about there might be funding for treatment of our lake with that. They have a $10 million grant that's coming out. I'll see if we can somehow or other fit that in there because we do pay $30,000 for treatment of our lake. I want to welcome our new administrator. Thank you for coming, and looking forward to working with you, Paula.
You too, thanks.
Welcome. Councilwoman Polidori was on a podcast or a video today, and it was a wonderful video. And basically, she was interviewed about women in government and how do you juggle home, children, jobs, civic activity, council liaison, and you did a wonderful job with trying to explain how you do it all and how you can go ahead and have women, because this is Women's Month, and how you can go ahead and actually do some of these things without fear and be successful. And you did a great job on that. Thank you for representing the women of Pompton Lakes, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I'm also looking forward to working with the kids in the high school. My counterpart didn't show up, but I'm going to try to meet her for lunch. So we'll see what she wants to do. My apologies, Mr. Hinton, on the letter. I can't remember what I did those 3 weeks, but I was sick. And I'll make sure you have that tomorrow.
I have a note to remind you.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and you know what, I thought I did it, to be honest with you. I thought that was all done, so I will make sure that letter goes out, because he did a beautiful job, and I want to thank you. And, Mr. Hinton, I also want to thank you for taking the time out to go to Crum Park and watching all those trees come out over by the railroad track. My understanding, we don't own that property, and we only own a very, very small part of that triangle, so I don't think we'll be able to do anything. Have to work, if you can get something out of the train.
Yeah, I spoke with
people.
them, they're not too anxious to do anything.
No. So we'll have to come back, we'll have to go back to the bid and see if we can do something else to make them happy, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's
there's
gonna
a bid meeting
happen.
tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it was gonna come up. and
It's gonna come up, yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I don't think we can do anything. Okay, and that is my report.
All right, thank you. I thank you for reminding me about our OEM director, Al Evangelista. He always puts on a very informative speech of emergency preparedness with all the new residents in town that we have in the last 2 years. It's something you really should pay attention to, because the key part of the whole thing was you don't want to worry about the emergency the day of the emergency. So there's some precautions you should be taking, and especially if you live in the south end of town. We've done a great job here controlling the nuisance flooding and those things, but we were surrounded by 3 rivers, and worrying about how to turn off your electric or your gas when the floodwaters are rising is not the time to be doing that. So if you have some time, please go watch that clip. It's not that long, it's about 45 minutes, and get some education there. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll start off by congratulating Paula. Look forward to working with you. The trails maintenance was performed this past weekend. I'd like to thank Columbia Bank, Gene Hoffman, for bringing out a ton of volunteers. I don't have the stats as to how many bags, but there are many, many bags of trash that were picked up by those volunteers. Kevin, I had a resident reach out to me about the bridge near 122 Hamburg. There's like chunks of concrete, like in the river falling.
Is this the crossover, please?
The one, it's on,
Which bridge are we talking about?
it's on Hamburg, near
It's
122.
it's on Hamburg, it's a county bridge.
It's County Bridge, right. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, okay.
County Bridge, yes. You sent me pictures of chunks of concrete. I'll send them over to you.
I ain't seen any of that yet.
And I'm looking forward to working with our CTO counterparts and hearing their ideas. And then lastly, tomorrow night, March 24th, Pompton Reformed is holding a free community dinner starting at 5:30. Mayor Mike and I will be serving, I believe, pasta tomorrow night, and everybody else is welcome to come join us.
Always like Boston.
In serving and, or dining, whichever. And we hope to see you out there. So, thank you.
Thank you, and just so you're informed and the rest of the council is informed, the small walk bridges that are over at West Lenox and at Hirschfield, the county was out last week repairing them, so if you've been over to them, they've actually did a lot of blacktop on top of them. Now, we are going to replace those bridges, like I mentioned in the last meeting, but, I called them to say, because one of them had a big hole, like you mentioned, going right through the bridge. They did come out and fix that, so maybe we can get them to come out and fix the other bridges. Okay, professional reports. What do you got?
Mayor, I'd like to welcome Paula. We were friends on LinkedIn for years, but I think that the first time we actually communicated was me to welcome you.
Thank you for reaching out.
So I look forward to working with you. It dawned on me, hearing Kevin talk, and I actually communicated with Councilman DeLine, with these charging stations coming online and the state mandate, I think that it may be advisable to have our planner start to work on bulk standards for their placement. There is certain limits you could put in place to make sure that these are being located appropriately within the borough,
right.
both within the redevelopment area and elsewhere,
Even
particularly
if
where
it's
there's.
approved by the boards already?
Once it's approved by the board,
It's,
It's
yeah,
approved by the boards.
but you're gonna end up having more of these projects come online,
Yes,
right?
probably, I don't know. but-
You
Yeah.
can see gas stations, try to put them in, things like that.
Which one?
Gas stations will
Oh.
not serve very
I see what you mean. So you're saying.
Yeah. Any new parking fields that are gonna be established are gonna be required to put these in.
Right, so the reason we don't have them in the Ponto is because we beat that
Okay.
new law in. Yeah, okay, that's fine, let's do that, because
Yeah.
it seems like a lot to me, I'm not gonna lie, 16 charging stations in one little area seems like a lot. We're a small little community, we have 16 charging stations in one parking lot. So yeah, if we can do anything to look at that, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Other than that, everything, there's nothing really to report.
Okay, thank you. Administrator's report.
It's a number of things, Mayor. As you know, we filed our open space application at County of Passaic. They changed their funding round, so the max we can apply for now, we have to bring our application down to $250,000. Still a substantial amount of money to apply for, but we had to bring it down to $250,000. That's the max anybody can apply for the open space grant going forward. As Council President Polidori said, I provided in my report a full outline of the playground proposed for Pacific Gallo Park. It's our third park we're working on. One of the things we talked about a few years ago is try to update parks as we go along, and the next one will be the big work, we're going to do a Hirschfield down the road. So the council has to technically approve the use of money from the open space fund, so I just need to know if there's any questions, concerns from the council, or do I get the okay to?
All right, so what we're talking about now is, I'm gonna, if anyone has any specific questions about what they're doing, now's the time to ask, and I'm gonna actually let Council President answer them. If you don't have any questions, then we're gonna vote on the use of open space funds to pay for this improvement to the parks. So first, does anybody have any questions? Yep, okay. So then we'll take a straw poll right now on if we support the fact of using open space funds for that. I'll start with Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I do myself.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you got the
Good to go.
vote.
And I did write to members of the governing body, I guess last week, outline how much was available as a balance, what's going to be put aside toward Hirschfield, and not the Hirschfield, Willow Field, and what we have available. We're going to get $118,000 into the coffers as the next tax cycle goes in. So on a whole,
Wait, say that again. So we got 150 in already, right?
No, you have 500,000 and there's that balance right now.
Oh, no, I'm not, okay, I'm talking about in for the.
Every year it's 118,000.
Right, but for Willowfield, how much do we have in from the open space?
We put aside 200,000, but we're hoping only to use 50,000 of it.
Okay.
But again, I just can't tell you what the bid's gonna be.
Right.
That's what killed me on the pond hole. Pond hole number, if the number should come in before everything happened, the pandemic, we wouldn't be spending the kind of we're spending now. Everything's exponentially more expensive. So we'll have money set aside for that. As we've been talking a little bit about the bonds and notes. As you know, I mentioned this a couple times last year, our net debt is slowly increasing because we have done a lot of major projects, but things that people see. Besides the fire truck, you have the pond hole, you have improvements to Lincoln Ave, you have improvements to Colfax Ave, so forth and so on. At this point in time, normally each June, we roll over what's called notes. You can roll over notes for 10 years. We have about a $400,000 note sale scheduled for this June. But with the bonds we did last year, the 100,000+ for other projects, the 1,500,000 for a fire truck, the finance committee met and decided it might be smarter now, instead of rolling over a note, take a complete bond out for a 14-year period for about $7 million and change. And that would lock in a rate, given the fact that interest rates are definitely going to go up. We know it's up a quarter point now, it could put a quarter point next quarter. I think I read where the Fed's might bring it up almost 2 points.
Yeah, they talked about it raising up 6 times by the end of the year.
So we're going to lock this rate in. So we'll do a $7 million bond sale in June, lock that rate in, and go forward. And as I mentioned, I purposely kept this year's capital improvement money back to what we normally use. Our level normally is recommended by our auditors to be $1 million or less. The problem we had a couple of years, we had a lot of big projects that, some were offset by state funds, but instead of bond for it. So we're going to hope to get back in a year or two back to that levelized playing field again, but it's going to have to get a little hump, and this will help us at least kind of get over that hump. So that will be June. We're working on the paperwork already. I'll be talking to the Moody's and the different rating agencies with the auditor to hopefully maybe get a little bit of a rate change where.
And that was approved by the finance committee.
Yeah, yes. So it's going to be and it's going to be approved by council too.
Right.
All these resolutions are going to come through in the next meeting. So we start sitting, we're going to say what they're all about. That's what they're all about. But then we're going to try it right now. We're a AA1. Given the fact we have such a good surplus and there's a lot of positives, we're going to try to maybe get another tick up in our bond rating. There's no guarantee, but we're probably in the best position we've been in many years. Maybe get that little tick up in the bond rating.
Will that give us a better rate if we get a tick up?
Well, it gives you better rate, but also gives you better interest rate. The better your rating, the better interest rate becomes, because you become a better risk. You know, so that's critical. You know,
And just, we should also mention that our consultants, you know, our financial people recommended this to us to start this. This is where it came from, was the recommendation by them.
well, we discussed that during the budget process, and so we ran the numbers and they realized that you could go either way, but it made more sense to do a long-term bond now, especially now the Feds are doing their incremental increases. You know, because you've had great note rates, even during the COVID times when note rates were crazy. Our joint insurance fund picked up our notes at a ridiculous interest rate. So that can happen forever. So you got to try to lock in, because that's going to change, and you got to be prepared for the change. Speaking of bonds and notes and all that good fun stuff, capital projects. I talked to the contractor at the pond that does the pond hole, the Ford cleanup company, and they're going to be back here the week of April 4th. At that point in time, it's going to take about 2 weeks to install all the lights in the pond hole.
So he has all the lights.
And they're going to install them all for 2 weeks on April 4th. The lights will go in. And he's going to do all the changes we talked about in terms of moving the curve and fixing the paving in the back. The kiosks will go in. We have to wait for the electric company. We've got to move one more pole. Verizon has not done its job moving stuff off another pole. So we have some pole work that's really on utilities to do. And the sad part was we met with them
It was a long time.
months before we did the bidding to try to avoid this problem. And we're here now having the same problem we tried to avoid.
But we can't do the work without them moving this pole?
No, we can't, but the problem is eventually they have to, you know, do that, and it doesn't impact the finalized paving.
Oh, it does.
It doesn't, oh yeah, because some of those, couple of those poles are in the paved area now.
Yeah, well, then we need to push them, because we can't push
It's
this
tough.
off.
I'm saying it's tough. I think the guy from Verizon I dealt with for years, Charles Kamal, I think he just retired, and emails go nowhere, nobody gets a hold of you. We're working on it, but it's not fun. Utilities are tough to deal with. So the pond hole is moving along. So I'm thinking if everything goes well, we'll probably have that final paving and striping done probably sometime maybe the end of May. We're going forward.
Okay, so we'll have the pole moved then.
I'm hoping, I'm saying if all goes well.
What happens if all doesn't?
Listen to my caveat, if all goes well. And my other caveat is nothing ever goes well. There's always a problem. And speaking of capital projects, first week, April must be a good week. American Asphalt, the Lincoln Ave Phase 1 is going to start coming in the week of April 4th to do concrete work and start doing all the drainage work and doing all the inlet repairs. And then sometime after that, probably either the last couple of weeks of April or early May, they'll be paving the Lincoln Ave project. So that's moving right along. The contractor for the library is back. He started the other day. He's going to be delivering the rest of the wood to build the frame. And they'll start framing out the building and then do the plumbing for the handicap bathroom. And then they'll be moving pretty quickly once that happens. It's not a very big area in addition, so I'll be done by
What's their time frame? Do we know?
Well, he's hoping to be out of there also by June. I mean, again, in
June?
But he's hoping, yeah.
Okay.
Again, it's not a big area, but again, the weather held him up. And then let me see what else we have. And I received part of our capital ordinance tonight is our inlet project. We do inlets every year. This year, right now, we have about 14 inlets we have picked out that will be the part of our storm system review every year, or just inlets we've noticed have been damaged over time. That's about a $40,000 project. We kind of budget 50, so we're in a good spot there.
And those are recognized by Dan, right? Dan finds the ones that he thinks need to be.
Well, Dan, but also, again, remember, we go out and do annual stormwater inspection of all of our inlets of our outfalls. And so based upon that, that's done by stormwater management. We then have a list of what they are, and that's how we've added to the list too. So it's a little bit of both. Also, that is that same company, that's what we know outlets and outfalls to clean out when we are contract with Greenwood, who does our vacuum of the inlets. So it all ties together. To answer Mr. Hinton's question, as you recall, as I mentioned a couple of meetings back, the DEP sent us a lengthy list of questions relative to the review of our Willow Field application. As I mentioned then, the person who reviewed the application, not the same person we met with down in Trenton. We met with the director of land use, Dennis Contoys. This was an underling. So this person looked at it from a fresh eye, not being part of our 2 in-person meetings, and had a lot of questions, and I responded and gave to the council a 10-page response from our engineer back to DEP saying, here's the answers to your questions. A lot of them we've already answered. So right now, It's still in DEP review. Once DEP is done reviewing it, hopefully we'll get our permit, then we can go out to bid. It's still in review. And last but not least, Howard Street, as you know, is part of this also capital improvement budget. We received money from the feds for ADA to do handicap returns and handicap curbs. Once that's done, we'll add Howard Street to our paving project for next year, and then we'll pave that. That's usually our MO. We usually do the handicap with the federal money 1 year, like the Stiles area, Stiles Court area, and come in and pave everything. This way it's a nice new road with the new grates and everything all at one shot in over a 2-year period.
And
I
that
think
map,
that was it, but I'm sure I forgot something.
and that map that was presented from PSE&G about how they're gonna, do we have any talk from them yet about their pipe replacement?
That map was just the map that they gave us as to what pipes are new, old, repair. It gave us an opportunity to see what their game plan is at this point in time. They haven't gone back to us yet with Glencore or anything like that, but I gave a copy to the police department, fire department, and Dan, so they get ready to feel for it. The infrastructure is a problem.
Okay. While he's joking, anybody have any other questions for him?
Yeah, well, I'm joking. I think I covered all. I might have forgotten some, but.
Anybody, anything? All right, so going back to PSE&G, we don't have any schedule of when they're gonna start digging up the streets to replace the lines, right?
The only place we're looking to look right now that we had a permit for, and then they asked to hold it was Glencourt, as of right now. It's the only one I'm aware of. There was working here at the county intersection of Hamburg and Ringwood. I don't think they've started there yet, because they're still in Riverdale, but that's the only place in town I know of would be Glencourt.
Okay, because the county.
That was put on hold.
The county executive reached out to me wanting to know if anybody fixed the depression in the Ringwood Avenue Hamburg Turnpike next to the white church. And I drove by there and somebody put a little asphalt in there, but it didn't make it any better. I mean, it's a sinkhole basically. And he said he would send some more guys out there. I said, well, I told him to reach out to you because I don't know if there was any paving schedule set by PSE&G yet to dig that up.
Eventually, they're going to do an intersection, because they did say in our meeting that they're, based upon how many lengths of road they do, if they have to do curb to curb, they will. So I'm sure the county's going to make them do.
I hope so.
Curb to curb, and that's a major intersection where they could use it compared to other areas.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, again, no questions? Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
Second. Council President Palladori, who was second? Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against, anyone from the public would like to address? Please step up.
I asked you a question.
Yes, you did. You did. Very good. Thank you. Randy Hitton, 443 Montclair Avenue. I just want to say I was in contact with NG Gilbert. They're the tree service for JCP&L. JCP&L went through town and specifically tagged trees that they want removed from their power lines. So thank JCP&L. They're saving us thousands of dollars. They're removing the trees.
Are any of those trees on our list?
Some of them were going to be on our list, but they're not now because they're taking care of them.
Okay.
So that works well for us. The
And
only thing.
these are removals, these are not the cut the V shape.
No, these are removals. These are some of the ash trees that have emerald ash borer. It's pretty bad in the south end of town where Councilman Venon lives. One of them is on Pine Street near Magnolia, and it had a big V in it anyway. But the other aspect, when I talked to the gentleman today, Alec, they cut the wood. They don't take the wood, which I really don't like. They're going to leave the wood. And that leaves the DPW to remove the wood, or people who burn wood end up scavenging it, which I don't really like either, but this is their procedure. This is how they do it. And they don't grind the stump, so. But I mean, it's $1,500 to remove the tree, and it's $300 to grind the stump,
So Kevin, what do we normally do with that wood? Does somebody take
When
it?
people call, we tell them to have at it, take it, make it, take it.
Okay. And it goes that way? People take it? Okay.
A lot of people do. I mean, that's a habit. A lot of people ask me when I'm taking down a town tree, can they have the wood? And I usually say no, because it's a liability for the town if they get hurt while they're taking the wood. That's the way I look at it. They do it a different way, so we'll see what happens.
And
But
they stack,
anyway,
and they stack it on, they stack it on the right of way, I'm guessing that's
they
right.
stack it on the right of way. Yes, they do.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, it's a little weird, I'm gonna be honest, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not on private property,
No, it's stacked on
Okay.
right of way.
okay.
Okay.
And people take it.
And people do take it, yes. Trout season's here. We had an incident with the town contractor with trout season going in the river. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. We got a fine from the DEP. We don't want to go through that.
He's well aware of it.
Okay. Trout season.
Thank you.
The increase in the secretary's salaries that I mentioned before, their salaries doubled. That's great for them, but I thought we usually go in 2% or 5% or,
We look at that as a part-time position and a stipend. I look at it as a stipend position. It might be a salary position in the.
It's not subject to.
Right.
Subject to the union.
to the state.
They're not in the union.
They're not in the union, so
Okay.
they're not restricted by 2%.
So it's up to whatever the council decides that they want.
But I think logically, Randy, 2% of $500 is nothing.
I know that.
That's why. it makes
I would have paid
sense.
it to them last year out of my
It would make
pocket.
more sense to give them something that's more respectful for the time they put in.
And I think they
Especially
well
as long as
deserved
it's
it.
been at $500 too.
They well deserved it.
They'll still take the bonus out of your pocket, though.
I'll do that, sure. You know, I'll go to
Probably
each secretary if
happily.
they want. You know, I'll have you run that for
I
me.
did let Maddie know that you'd be giving her another $500.
Okay, we can do that. Ordinance 22-12 that you just brought up, talks about $90,000
Oh, yep.
for capital improvement. And you mentioned that some of that is going to the first aid squad building. First aid squad building is used for elections, for voting for that area. What is the improvement that's going to be done in the first aid squad?
First of all, we're going to be helping them buy some more radio equipment and use some pagers and so forth. And also the interior building, has to be improved. It's in the pay areas, or that's going to try to spruce that up and so forth. Last few years, we've given money to the first aid squad, above our donation to paint the building, the capital improvements outside, because it really, in the end, still, our facility should be.
Sure, no, I agree with that 100%. But the other aspect of it is the DPW garage, nothing's been done for years. That building is falling apart, and the DPW is an integral part of our town, and those guys deserve a decent building. The supervisor and superintendent are in 2 trailers that we've been paying rent on since the last flood.
And the answer to that is that the cost of doing that is very expensive, and the potential movement to DuPont is still an opportunity.
There is communication with DuPont to.
Bottom line is that why would you look to renovate and potentially probably demolish that building and build a new facility when it was impacted by Hurricane Irene? Wouldn't it be better off putting it in place out of harm's way? It's one of those things that, you have to take a look at, and we haven't felt it was wise to spend the money, it would be good money for bad, because eventually you do this and the DuPont says you're ready to go, we're bugging out. It's one of those double-edged.
So just there's been numerous discussions with DuPont, and they're favorable, by the way. DuPont supports the idea of us moving up there. The problem is the property has to be cleaned up, and that's being stalled by EPA and DEP. But we're at that point now where DuPont will be presenting to the public their cleanup schedule through the EPA. Once that's approved by the EPA and the DEP, they will, if we want, fast-track the cleaning of the property that we're looking to do. So that's where we're hoping to go. The DPW supervisors are aware of this. They know this is a possibility, so we're holding out for that right now.
I think one of the other things is where the DPW is now will make a good redevelopment area.
Well, that might be tough.
In a flood area.
So,
These are all long-term goals, but I agree with Kevin. Are we going to spend a lot of money to put a building in a floodway? That's a problem. And we don't have any more available space to put them, so.
That flood that hit that DPW garage only brought about 18 inches of water in that area. Could have been elevated where trucks drive up in and they drive back out. And
Do you know how much elevation costs to build something like that?
no, it's not that expensive.
No, it is very expensive.
I've been 45 years of construction. It's not that much to build that building up
Okay, it's
2 foot, 3 foot. And the DuPont aspect of putting the building over there has been a fantasy now for 10, 15 years.
We can only do it until they clean it. We can't do anything.
Well, meanwhile, the guys are living in filth, working in
I
filth.
can tell you that I've spoken to both of the supervisors there, and they're not complaining about their, they'd like to get into a building, yes, but they're okay with where they are. They like the trailers, they like the spaced out.
They like the trailers, there's no bathrooms in the trailer. That's
Okay,
why
but
the
they-
secretary had to come up here to go to the bathroom, or she went home when she was working there.
Okay, but at the end of
There's
the
no
day-
running water in those
At the end
trailers.
of the day, we're doing.
And we're
best.
paying rent on those trailers, are we not?
I don't even know if we store, I thought we bought them at Venture.
Yes, we could have bought those trailers 5 times over.
Yeah, we probably did.
Lastly, keep in mind that the library trees, the cherry trees and the pine tree are going once the cherry tree blossoms fall. I brought it up before, we're gonna need an electrician there, so just keep it in mind.
So that's probably within May or June, or we're talking?
When the cherry blossoms fall, Mr. Mayor.
You don't want to give me an
you
answer when they fall?
Well, it's up to the weather.
Okay.
You know, daffodils are just starting to come up. Last year, they were blooming already.
No,
I don't know when the
front
cherry
up here.
blossoms
It's,
are gonna bloom.
Okay, yeah, but that's important news, because I know a lot of residents are very concerned about our.
That's why we're waiting.
Right. So,
And then we'll have to discuss about new trees being planted there. Possibly, conversation I had with Council President, the Salem Oak. Be a beautiful place to put that. We'll
As long as we
talk
get-
a bit about it.
as long as we got blooming trees also, we should be okay. I think people want the blooming trees.
Oh, we love those blooming trees.
Blooming onion, I don't care what you put there, but,
All right, thank you.
all right, thank you.
Good evening.
Okay. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
Second?
Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Put it to the floor. Anybody put it to the floor?
I do, I have something I overlooked in my report. So we are actually bringing a program to the community on Monday, April 11th. It is a collaboration between our superintendent and some of the counselors in our school system, along with some professionals that Passaic County is sending out, and different positions from family services, crisis management, youth counselors. The purpose of the program is to have a panel discussion forum open to all members of the community to come in and speak about some issues that they may be experiencing at home post-COVID with their children. So whether it be behaviorally or academically, post-mask, we know that some children are still uncomfortable taking their masks off. We know that through COVID, there were some families that suffered loss, so there will be some topics of grief management covered. And this really was brought to fruition by talking to different teachers and principals and parents and educators in our school system and our county, and what they're seeing. And what they are seeing is a rise in behavioral issues and a unfortunate effect on some grades that we've seen post-COVID. So this is going to give us the opportunity to meet in one place and talk about some of the issues that we're having. It will be a place to get resources. There will be some information you can take away. And we are working with the superintendent on making sure that some of our professionals from our school systems are there so that our families have a familiar face, and individuals that are actually working in our schools that are seeing what our families are going through. So that is in the high school auditorium on Monday, April 11th at 7 p.m. And it is open to adults. We ask that you not bring the children.
Edward, the most important thing that was not brought up in anybody's report is our Easter egg hunt is April 3rd at the tennis courts. I'm sorry, Saturday, April 2nd, rain day, Sunday, April 3rd, 2 p.m., tennis courts for children of all ages. It's organized by the rec department. They do it in groups of ages, so the small kids go together, and it's not running with the 8-year-olds or 10-year-olds. It's a nice event. Easter Bunny's there, music, there's giveaways and candy. It's open to all families in Pompton Lakes, Saturday, April 2nd, 2 p.m. at the tennis courts. Sunday, rain date, April 3rd. Follow social media to find out if there's a rain date. Any other approach before? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Dawn. Thank you, everyone.